Hey folks, Ryan Beatty, Commissioner District 4. What I'd like to do for this month's newsletter is just give you a brief rundown of how we calculate property taxes in Sedgwick County. In my short stint here, just 6 months in office, what I've learned is there's always a lot of questions around property taxes, budget time. And here at the county, as we're working towards passing a budget in August, I think it's really important that all of our constituents know and understand the process of how we determine things like a mill levy, things like property taxes, because they really do impact your lives. So if you'll be patient with me, just a really very impromptu video as to what these things mean and some key terms when we're talking about property taxes. 4 key terms in particular. The first is what we call a mill levy or a mill levy rate. Now what a mill levy is just a tax rate that we apply towards property in our county. A mill levy is actually $1 per $1,000 of assessed value. So remember this, very, very important as we begin to talk about the formula of calculating property taxes. So that's a mill levy rate. And then we talked about an appraised value. Many of you in March received from our county appraiser property valuation notice. In fact, 80% of homeowners received this. If you received any change whatsoever, up or down in property appraisal value, then you receive this valuation notice. And then they will determine what your appraised value is. Now, here's why this is important, because then we talk about an assessment rate. Different types of property are assessed at a different rate in the county. So if you look at a residential, the vast majority of our properties, the assessment rate is 11.5%, commercial, 25%, agricultural, 30%. That's an assessment rate. So when you see this term used, we're talking about the different types of property and the rate that is applied towards it. And then lastly, what we call an assessed value. Really, really simple. You take your appraised value, time your assessment rate, and that gives you our value, or assessed value that we used in the property tax calculation. So very, very important. Those are key terms. Now, when we talk about how do all these terms relate together, how do they come together, we use a formula. Assessed value times your mill levy rate. And remember, since mill levy is $1 per $1,000 of assessed value, what I do very simply is I take assessed value times your mill levy rate and I just divide it by 1,000. Very, very simple. It's a simple formula that I use that gets you in the ballpark of where you're going to get your property tax dollars. So let's put this into more practical terms, a really practical example. So our median, and again, forgive the handwriting. The ladies in the office have been teasing about my handwriting. The median housing value in Sedgwick County is $167,100. If you take that times a residential assessment rate, 11.5, that'll give you an assessed value rate of $19,217. So again, go to our formula. Assessed value times our mill levy rate. In the county, our mill levy rate is 29.368 mills. That's 2023 mill levy rate. So you take your 19,217 times 29.368, divide by 1,000, and this household would have approximately $564.40 of property tax. That's the formula. Real quick rundown on what it looks like. Now let's ask 2 really important questions. The first is, how does this compare to other tax jurisdictions? You know, there's over 100 taxing jurisdictions in Sedgwick County. For many of you, you have your city, you have the state, you have the county. For some of us, including myself, we have fire district. You have your school, your school districts. You have school bonds. You have cemeteries. You have all types of different taxing jurisdictions. So how does this number here, 29.368 mills for Sedgwick County, how does it compare? Well, let's look at a common Wichita residential property owner and look how this compares. So you'll see a common Wichita resident pays 115.114 mills of property taxes. Sedgwick County makes up 29.368. USD 259 will make up 51.484. The state is 1.5 mills. And then the city of Wichita is 32.762 mills, totaling approximately 115 mills. So you'll see here, this is just in Wichita, but many homeowners that live outside of Wichita will be paying, Mays, Valley Center, Park City, Derby, other areas, between 150 and 165 mills of property tax. So you'll see again, And Sedgwick County makes up 29.368 mils of your property tax bill. That's typically, for an average homeowner, about 25% of your property tax bill is made up with the Sedgwick County portion of it. Very important to know and understand that. Okay, last question, last thing is, why does this matter? Why is this important? As we begin to work towards a budget that will be passing August 23rd here in Sedgwick County, I feel it's very important that all of our constituents know and understand how our property tax is calculated, what's a mill levy, what do we have to do to fund Sedgwick County government, public safety, public health, public works. What is it that we have to generate in revenue, where 40% of our budget is generated from property tax revenue? What does all this mean and how does it impact you? Conversations for a different day, but point number one is that you need to understand how property taxes are generated, and hopefully this demonstration will shed a little bit of light for the majority of our constituents. As always, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, please reach out to me. I'm always happy to help.